It has been a while since we have had such a jam-packed month of upcoming games as in February, which also marks for Zelda's 35th anniversary. And who knows if we could get something from that franchise as well. But even without Zelda, February could easily set you back hundreds of dollars if you're a fan of Mario, Persona, and in general JRPGs, as this month has something for first-party, third-party exclusive, third-party and indie fans. So be sure to smash that like button, 3,500 for 35 years of Zelda would be great, and also press that subscribe button with notification bell on, and for all notifications before we get into why February is the true kickoff for Nintendo Switch's 2021 games lineup with its best games. And it begins with Robi Studios' Blue Fire on February 4th. 3D indie games deserve more attention, and though Blue Fire is published by Graffiti Games, I think we should not sleep on this action-adventure platformer role-playing title, as it has gorgeous visuals and an interesting setting in the post-apocalyptic world of Penumbra. Based on the trailer and promises from the developer, throughout the game we'll find a plethora of diverse enemies, 3D platforming challenges combined with quests, collectibles, and more as you make your way through the game by slashing your way and upgrading your character, all in order to challenge stronger opponents and bosses alike. There's indeed some depth to this game, which we sadly still don't have a launch price for, but I would be surprised if it costs more than the game that is coming out exactly 1 week after, namely on February 11th, as that is when Tarsier Studios' long-awaited follow-up for the hauntingly gorgeous Little Nightmares, which is also on the Nintendo Switch, will launch. If you haven't played it, then you might consider doing so now, as on February 11, the wait for Little Nightmares 2 will finally be over. And thus we'll be able to begin another suspenseful adventure in a world that is as twisted as it is fascinating. Though this time the main character is Mono, as the playable protagonist of the first game 6 is dependent on guiding Mono to the signal tower in order to not fade away. Luckily, you will be cooperating with 6 on the path there, while solving puzzles and facing a number of nightmares represented through past torments, which will do the utmost to prevent you from reaching the signal tower and finding a way to save 6. Originally scheduled by Bandai Namco for 2020, some real-life nightmares likely pushed it to February. But you know what? It doesn't bother us in the slightest, as this is a $40 title that will not be as big of a nightmare for our wallets as the next few entries on this list. Though try to keep Little Nightmares 2 in mind after it launches on the Nintendo Switch, along with other systems on February 11th. Though it might be a little hard when the next game on our list launches the day after. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, February 12th. Finally, some new 3D Mario platformer content from Nintendo after a long wait since 2017. And ironically, it comes in the form of the conclusion title of Super Mario's 35th anniversary and the least 3D of all the console 3D Marios, 3D World. Well, not really. But joking aside, February 12th is bringing a deeply underrated Mario game with amazing level design, power-ups, bosses, and a post-game that is definitely worth playing on the Nintendo Switch. And yes, it is another Wii U Deluxe port to the Nintendo Switch, but this time for the $60 entry fee that Nintendo has set, you get value that we have not seen in these kinds of Wii U to Switch ports since 2017's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Since Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is packed with new content ranging from online 4-player multiplayer, improved loading times, 4-player co-op multiplayer within Captain Toad's adventures, and most important of them all, the big expansion, Bowser's Fury. This expansion might actually be an even bigger deal than the proper battle mode that was brought over for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as it introduces a new open world like Cat Kingdom with a big quest to hand the furious Bowser Snickers. Just kidding. Specifically with Bowser Jr., who you can either use for 2-player local co-op play or as an AI who can just be your companion or aid you in battle. Bowser's Fury, which can be played right away from the title screen, seemed to be an over 3-hour long adventure that could be a taste of the future of 3D Mario. Though for Nintendo, it is more likely that they are hoping that it will help Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury to become the second best-selling deluxe version of a Wii U game on the Nintendo Switch after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That game is probably impossible to surpass. And luckily, we'll have 10 days to play it before the next big game hits the Switch. Well, that is unless you're into Galgun Returns and Azure Lane Crossway, 2 anime girl-themed games, but in let's say a little different ways. Now, who really cares about those when on February 22nd we finally get the English localization of Persona 5 Strikers? A brand new story, or if you prefer epilogue, set during the summer vacation 6 months after the conclusion of Persona 5 Royal. Persona 5 Strikers is the first Persona 5 title to grace a Nintendo system, and though it is likely to be the last, who knows what can be achieved with amazing sales numbers on the Switch also here in the West. Even so, keep in mind that this is not a turn-based RPG like the original Persona 5, but rather an action, role-playing game with turn-based elements, which might be preferable for some. The story-driven Persona 5 continues in this game as you battle your way through a distorted reality where the target is to fight corruption across Japan in a rather different road trip. And when we mean fight, then we mean fight against countless opponents in classic warrior style, or with Persona 5 elements, UI, and multiple playable characters that you already know and love if you have played Persona 5. The Japanese version of the game has been considered as one of, if not the best warrior style game of all time, with all the style and flair of the Persona 5 franchise, including its god-tier soundtrack. Though keep in mind that this is a rather meaty game, with a massive download size of 12GB if you decide to download the title from the eShop. It will also, just like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, set you back $60, but it's definitely a game that is more than worthy of its price tag. If you after these games still have some money and probably more importantly time to spend on games in February, then I'm glad that we still have a few more recommendations for you, including a big Switch third-party exclusive. But first I have to ask, why do we not have Crazy Taxi on the Switch? The reason might be that Taxi Chaos is coming out on February 23rd and serves much as its spiritual successor, and with a price tag of $35, that is not bad. But you know full well that I would prefer the original, even though Sega is distributing the game in Asian markets. Now then, since we're on the topic of long gone classics, what do you say to the ultimate challenge on February 25th with Ghosts 'n Goblins Resurrection, the reboot of the notoriously difficult Ghosts 'n Goblins on the NES and Ghosts 'n Ghouls on the SNES, the game which forced you to beat it twice in order to get the true ending with true English. Definitely not a title for me, but if you're an Arthur fanboy or simply looking for a challenge that will put all your gaming skills to the test, then don't look further. Luckily, this time Capcom has multiple difficulty settings, so you will not necessarily end up with a game over after 2 hits. A $30 price tag is also nice for a brand new 2D experience, though just so you know, I prefer much more our final entry unless a few more titles get confirmed release dates in February. Laid out of 2020, much like a few other games, on Friday, February 26, after enjoying its demo for nearly a year, the wait will be over. And best of all, it is still a Nintendo Switch exclusive with a modern take on the classic turn-based role-playing genre. Set in a new world, excellent, and with an unrelated story to both the original Default and its direct follow-up second, Bravely Default 2 is a great entry point to the franchise for anyone who hasn't played the 3DS games. Throughout this slightly chibi-styled game, you will follow 4 main characters: Seth the Sailor, Princess Gloria, Elvis the Scholar, and Adele the Mercenary, as they cross the 5 kingdoms of Excellence. I'll admit, I haven't played the previous games, and I hope that this is a game that I'll be able to get into. Though I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based RPGs when it comes to its gameplay, and since there's a rather meaty demo available right now for this game, and then I recommend that you try it before you buy it. The turn-based barrier might be too much for some, but if Bravely Default 2 with its $60 price tag, risk and reward turn-based combat can sell and enjoy similar success to Octopath Traveler, then perhaps we can see some more RPGs from Square Enix on the Nintendo Switch in the coming years. Now those are all of the best titles that I would like to talk about in February. There are obviously more games coming out, but instead of wasting your time with those, and also knowing that you probably, if you're gonna buy all of these games, have spent hundreds of dollars, I'd rather just end it here, and probably recommend you maybe 1 or 2 other titles, since Capcom is releasing Capcom Arcade Stadium Collection, which is planned for February with no set release date and will come with 32 arcade classics. And we also have no release date or even specific reveal when it comes to the rumored Apex Legends, which is rumored to land on the Nintendo Switch and challenge Fortnite for the Battle Royale free-to-play shooter crown on the system soon enough. February might also bring some more surprises, as this is after all Zelda's 35th anniversary. Much like with the Mario Direct in September 2020, we shouldn't be surprised if we get something similar for Zelda in February, around or sometime before the anniversary on February 21st. And who knows, maybe a classic Zelda title or even 2 by the end of the month. Sound off in the comment section what you think about all of this, and which titles you are planning to pick up in this absolutely insane month for new releases on the Nintendo Switch. The only thing really missing here is a completely brand new first-party Nintendo game, though Bowser's Fury appears to be very close to filling that void. Anyway, please leave a like if you haven't already and share this video as it tremendously helps, and the same goes with subscribing as that helps the channel grow, and preferably with notification bell on. Finally, a big thanks goes to all our great patrons on patreon.com/commonrealm, and in particular our royal producer Charles Shash for supporting the channel. And to all of you, please enjoy one or both of these two awesome videos.